GMNA uses artificial intelligence for generated speech, visuals, and production. AI-generated content may contain errors. Please verify important information before making decisions or taking action.
Good evening. The city has pushed back the public forum on police racism to mid-August, while Comiccon kicks off this weekend with Sci Fi Stars. Traffic is seeing minor delays from localized obstructions, and Pastamore in DDO bids farewell after 4 decades. Over to you, Emma.
Tonight at 8 p.m., Turkish House Montreal presents Festival Faves. Turkish Afro Vibe, a live showcase blending traditional Turkish rhythms with contemporary Afro beats and vibrant dance performances.
The event runs from 8 to 10 p.m., free admission, located on Rue St. Laurent, and includes a short workshop on percussion instruments.
Attendees can enjoy complimentary tea and baklava from a local Turkish cafe, with additional food trucks offering vegan and gluten-free options throughout the evening.
We've highlighted tonight's Turkish Afro Vibe showcase. So many flavors await, lots to get to. Let's begin, and the music will keep Montreal humming through the night. Good evening, Montreal. City officials have pushed back the public forum on police racism that was slated for July 8. The Service de Police de la Ville de Montreal asked the city to move the discussion to mid-August so families and colleagues can attend the funeral of a constable killed in a recent shooting in Côte des Neiges. The postponed meeting will still be held in a community center downtown, with city leaders promising a full hearing on the allegations of bias within the force. Organizers say the new date will give the department time to compile additional data and allow grieving officers to participate without distraction. Critics note the delay comes at a tense moment, but the SPVM maintains the change is purely to respect the fallen officer and his loved ones. The city will announce the exact venue and time in the coming weeks.
The 16th Montreal Comiccon opened today, turning the city into a playground for sci-fi lovers, comic fans, and gamers. Organizers led by Jason Rockman say the 3-day event will run through Sunday, offering meet and greets with a roster of actors, creators, and gaming personalities. Panels are scheduled across the convention floor, where fans can hear behind-the-scenes stories from the latest blockbuster series and indie titles alike. Cosplayers are already filling the hallways, and a dedicated gaming arena hosts tournaments for everything from classic tabletop to virtual reality. This year's lineup reflects the growing appetite for pop culture experiences, giving enthusiasts a chance to interact directly with the talent that shapes their favorite worlds. With doors open now, the buzz is palpable as queues form at autograph stations and photo booths. Local vendors also showcase exclusive merchandise, adding to the festive atmosphere.
Violent thunderstorms swept across the North Shore Thursday evening, unleashing fierce winds that toppled dozens of trees along the Rive Nord. Fallen trunks and branches littered streets and sidewalks, forcing municipal crews to launch an immediate cleanup operation. Teams from the city's Public Works Department arrived within minutes, working through the night to clear debris and restore safe passage for motorists and pedestrians. Residents reported power flickers as branches struck utility lines, though no widespread outages were confirmed. The storm, which lasted roughly 5 minutes at its peak, left several driveways blocked and a handful of vehicles damaged by falling wood. Officials said the rapid response helped prevent further injuries and that cleanup will continue through the weekend to return the area to normal conditions. City officials will monitor the affected neighborhoods on Monday to assess any remaining hazards and advise residents accordingly.
On the island, a judge has put a temporary pause on the city's move to cancel the operating permits for American Iron and Metals metal recycling facility in Montreal EST. The court order issued this morning halts the revocation while the dispute continues to play out in the courts. City officials had argued that the plant failed to meet environmental standards and sought to shut it down, but the judge ruled that the city must maintain the permits until a full hearing determines compliance. AIM, which processes scrap metal for regional manufacturers, will remain open for now, keeping jobs and traffic flowing to the East End neighborhood. Both the municipal administration and the company have said they will prepare for the next legal steps as the case remains unresolved. The temporary nature of the order means the city can still pursue additional enforcement measures, and a hearing is set for later this month.
Since July 1st, the city has been confronting growing piles of trash spilling onto the streets as residents complete their summer moves. Officials say the surge of discarded furniture, boxes, and unwanted items, typical after the annual moving day, is overwhelming normal collection routes. To curb the buildup, crews are intensifying curbside pickups and deploying additional garbage trucks to hot-spot neighborhoods. The municipality also opened temporary drop-off points at community centers and schools, offering residents a place to leave large items for proper disposal. City spokesperson warned that if the piles are not cleared quickly, they could obstruct sidewalks and pose health risks. The effort will continue through the weekend as teams work to restore clean streets across the island. The operation is part of the city's annual plan to manage the post-moving day waste surge and will remain in effect until the streets are cleared. Next, police are hunting a suspect in the violent home invasion of an elderly woman. More details after the break. We will be right back.
If you run a venue, a comedy night, a concert, a fundraiser, you already know the hardest part isn't the show. It's selling the seats. Theaterfiller changes that. In minutes, you're set up with your own ticketing page, QR code delivery, and a door scanner. No technical headaches. No middleman taking a cut of your night. Your event, your tickets, your revenue. Go to theaterfiller.com and fill every seat.
Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the break. Now Emma Leclair will guide us through today's local stories right here on the local Sunset.
Police seek suspect in violent Montreal home invasion of elderly woman. Montreal police are searching for a male suspect linked to a home invasion that took place during the winter of 2025-2026. The incident involved a break-in at the residence of an elderly woman in the city's East End. According to investigators, the intruder entered the home, restrained the occupant with rope, and left with personal belongings including jewelry and cash. The victim was discovered by a neighbor after the suspect fled the scene. Police have confirmed that the crime occurred in the early months of the winter season and have issued a public appeal for information as of Friday. The investigation remains active, and authorities are reviewing surveillance footage and forensic evidence to identify and locate the perpetrator. No arrests have been made at this time.
Today, the natural cavern beneath Parc Pi Roman 12 in St. Leonard opened its doors to the public with 2 guided tours. Visitors can choose the classic route that winds through the original chambers or a brand new path that explores an extra section uncovered in 2017. The addition expands the underground experience, offering families, school groups, and curious locals a chance to walk beneath the neighborhood and learn about the city's ancient geology. Cave manager Marc-André Lompré says the tour run hourly and include explanations of the rock formations, underground streams, and the history of the discovery. With a modest entry fee and a brief walk from the main park entrance, the attraction provides an off-the-beaten-path option for a Saturday outing or a rainy afternoon adventure. Those looking for a unique way to connect with the land beneath their streets now have a guided option right at their doorstep.
3 provinces have stepped in to bolster Quebec's wildfire response as flames continue to blaze across the province. New Brunswick, Prince Edward Island, and British Columbia are dispatching crews, equipment, and aerial resources to assist the Provincial Wildfire Prevention and Suppression Agency. The assistance arrives while multiple fires burn through forested areas, prompting coordinated efforts to protect homes and critical infrastructure. Officials say the added manpower and specialized aircraft will help contain hotspots faster and reduce the strain on local firefighters. The inter-provincial collaboration underscores the scale of the emergency, with each province contributing personnel and assets suited to rugged terrain and rapid fire spread. Residents in affected regions are urged to stay alert as crews work around the clock to bring the blazes under control. The operation is ongoing, with additional support expected as conditions evolve.
Severe storms have knocked out electricity for roughly 20,000 households across the city, and crews are now working round the clock to bring power back. Hydro-Quebec confirmed that teams are moving through the most affected neighborhoods, repairing damaged lines and clearing debris. Restoration is proceeding in stages, with some streets already seeing lights flicker back on while others remain in darkness. Residents who have been without heat and refrigeration are being advised to conserve remaining battery power and to check on vulnerable neighbors. The utility estimates that full service could take several days, but priority is being given to hospitals, schools, and essential services. As the work continues, officials ask patience as crews navigate unsafe conditions and coordinate repairs throughout the affected zones. The effort includes deploying extra generators to critical sites and monitoring weather updates for safety.
More than 2,000 households still found themselves without a lease after last Saturday's moving day, the annual deadline for ending rental agreements. Housing advocates warn the figure underscores a shortage of affordable rentals, noting recent construction of new apartments has not eased the affordability crunch. The lack of leases leaves families scrambling for shelter just days after they were required to vacate. Officials said the surge reflects market pressures, while advocates urged policymakers to address the gap between new units and affordability. The moving day observed each July 1st signals the turnover of leases across the province. This year's count of lease-less households rose sharply according to a report by local housing groups. They argue that units remain priced beyond the reach of low-income families, leaving many to rely on temporary arrangements. The housing ministry has acknowledged the challenge but offered no immediate plan.
Now let's take a quick look at tonight's forecast with our meteorologist.
A steady western jet fuels today's lingering heat while pressure holds, keeping clouds at bay over Montreal. On this date, Montreal's all-time high reached 32.6 degrees in 2018, a spike that arrived during a multi-week heat dome anchored by a persistent ridge over the Great Lakes. The record low of 12.7 degrees fell in 2015, when a sudden Arctic blast slipped south behind a stalled front, dumping cold air into the St. Lawrence Basin. By contrast, the climatological average for July 3rd sits near 27 degrees high and 19 degrees low, underscoring today's warmth. Zooming in on the live radar, the screen is clean, no rain bands, no snowflakes, just a uniform echo. That emptiness reflects the high-pressure dome that blankets the province, with the western jet stream slicing aloft at 133 kilometers per hour, steering any moisture far to the north. With no lift and a dry air mass, precipitation will stay away through the night. At 6 p.m., Montreal sits under a clear sky, temperature 29 degrees, humidity 46%, and a west wind blowing at 20 kilometers per hour, gusting up to 41. Pressure is near average and holding steady, so the ridge that has dominated the region remains unmoving. Aloft, the jet stream races westward at 133 kilometers per hour, reinforcing the subsidence that keeps clouds suppressed. The UV index is 7, and wind peaks at 27 kilometers per hour from the west, feeling brisk on exposed surfaces. No rain is forecast, and the heat warning that covers the island and surrounding municipalities stays in effect, reminding residents to stay hydrated. As the night progresses, temperatures will dip to 20 degrees before sunrise, setting the stage for tomorrow's outlook. Looking ahead, Saturday brings a mild high of 27 degrees and a low of 16, with clear skies and a breeze that should stay below 20 kilometers per hour. Sunday's temperature climbs back to 29 degrees at its peak, but a cloud deck will keep the sun hidden, keeping the low at 16. Monday mirrors Sunday with another 29-degree high and a low near 19, the overcast persisting as a weak frontal boundary drifts east. Tuesday breaks the cloud cover, delivering a clear day and a high of 29 degrees, while night temperatures hold at 20. Wednesday tops the stretch with a warm high of 30 degrees under a patchy overcast, then cools to 20 overnight. The heat warning remains active for the island and surrounding regions throughout the period, so vigilance is advised. And that's your weather. Remember, the local sunset is also available as a podcast. Listen anytime on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts.
We'll unpack today's traffic, preview the Jazz Festival, and honor Pastamore's 4-decade run. Then back to you. We will be right back.
If you run a venue, a comedy night, a concert, a fundraiser, you already know the hardest part isn't the show. It's selling the seats. Theaterfiller changes that. In minutes, you're set up with your own ticketing page, QR code delivery, and a door scanner. No technical headaches. No middleman taking a cut of your night. Your event, your tickets, your revenue. Go to theaterfiller.com and fill every seat.
Emma Leclair, the biggest holdup right now sits on Avenue Chouinard, Avenue de Repentigny, and Boulevard Langelier in the Mercier-Aucheleh Maisonneuve borough. A stalled vehicle is blocking 2 lanes and crews are on scene, so expect a slowdown of about 15 minutes through that corridor. If you're heading east on Chouinard, consider turning onto Rue Notre Dame or using the nearby Autoroute 15 to bypass the jam. Further north, Boulevard Dumont Royal between Avenue McCulloch and Chemin de Cintre in Outre-Moen is also seeing a moderate obstruction. Traffic is crawling, especially near the intersection with Avenue McCulloch. Drivers are advised to use Avenue du Parc as an alternate route. Add 10 minutes if you stay on the main road. Aside from those spots, the rest of the network is moving freely. Transit runs on schedule with no reported delays on the metro or bus lines. Morning rush has eased, but expect a flow of vehicles this afternoon as commuters head home.
Montreal's Jazz Heart beats tonight with the Festival International de Jazz de Montreal, spilling live sets across the city's venues. A must-listen for anyone who loves spontaneous, world-class music. Grab a friend and let the city's soundtrack guide your evening. Tomorrow, the Palais des Congrès transforms into a pop culture playground as Montreal Comiccon opens its doors, promising panels, celebrity guests, and endless geek-friendly fun. Whether you collect comics or cosplay, there's a surprise around every corner. The city streets stay alive this week with Montreal Comiccon Cirque, a free circus festival touring neighborhoods, where acrobats and clowns turn everyday corners into spectacular stages. Families and strangers alike gather under the night sky to share wonder. Starting Tuesday, the Matsuri Japan Festival rolls out across Montreal, offering authentic Japanese food, workshops and family-friendly performances that bring a taste of the Far East to our doorstep. Don't miss the tea ceremony and taiko drumming that pulse through the streets. And now here's Jason with sports.
Here's the latest on Montreal sports, from trades to city honors. Vancouver has secured Montreal's forward Brendan Gallagher, sending him to the Canucks in exchange for future considerations. The move, confirmed on June 29, marks a notable shift for the Canadiens as they adjust their roster ahead of the upcoming season. The City of Montreal named Canadiens forward Brendan Gallagher an honorary citizen, holding a ceremony at City Hall Thursday afternoon. The recognition celebrates his contributions on and off the ice, underscoring the strong bond between the player and the local community. Montreal honored officially forward Brendan Gallagher with honorary citizenship at City Hall on Thursday afternoon, June 25. The ceremony recognized his contributions to the Canadiens and the community, cementing his lasting legacy beyond the rink. Goaltending legend Carey Price was elected to the Hockey Hall of Fame, joining the 2026 class alongside Pekka Rinne, Keith Tkachuk and Cindy Curley. The Montreal native's induction underscores his lasting impact on the franchise.
Pastamore in Dollar des Ormeaux has been a West Island staple since it opened in 1981, when Mario and Maria Noviti first set out to share their love of homemade Italian cooking. For 40 years, the family-run restaurant served plates of fresh pasta, rich sauces, and the occasional Sunday lasagna that felt like a hug for the whole neighborhood. Tonight we learn the dining room will close its doors, but the Novities are keeping the Pastamore name alive with an online shop that will ship their signature fresh pasta and sauces across the city. It's a bittersweet transition, yet it reminds us that Montreal's culinary soul endures, reinventing itself one family kitchen at a time. Stay tuned for a night of Turkish Afro vibe at the Jazz Festival's Friday showcase, a celebration you won't want to miss.
If you run a venue, a comedy night, a concert, a fundraiser, you already know the hardest part isn't the show. It's selling the seats. Theaterfiller changes that. In minutes, you're set up with your own ticketing page, QR code delivery, and a door scanner. No technical headaches. No middleman taking a cut of your night. Your event, your tickets, your revenue. Go to theaterfiller.com and fill every seat.
On a crisp evening along the banks of the St. Lawrence, a small group of volunteers gathered beside a lone fire tower that watches over the boreal forest near La Côte aux Cairns. Among them were a retired schoolteacher from Saguenay, a First Nations youth ambassador, and the park ranger who has spent decades tracking the shy herds. As the sky deepened to a violet hue, they unrolled a simple parchment that bore the signatures of Quebec's Premier and the Federal Minister of Environment, marking the final step of a historic funding pact to restore the province's dwindling caribou populations. The agreement, secured after months of dialogue, will channel millions of dollars into habitat restoration, predator management, and community-led monitoring. In that moment, a young ranger lifted his binoculars, caught sight of a small family of caribou stepping silently through a snow-kissed clearing, their antlers catching the fading light. The quiet rustle of the forest seemed to echo a shared promise that these ancient travelers will once again thrive across Quebec's wild heart. And so, as the sun sets over the river, we are reminded that cooperation and care can turn a fragile future into hopeful renewal.
On a Saturday evening in the Plateau Mont-Royal, fierce winds ripped through the borough, snapping power lines and leaving dozens of families in darkness. By the time the storm passed, kitchens were quiet and phones dim. Across the block, Pierre, owner of a tiny bakery, stepped outside with a portable generator and a tray of warm croissants, handing them to neighbors gathered on the stoop. A group of university students from Concordia set up a pop-up lantern station, their LED lights flickering like fireflies as they handed out flashlights to seniors living alone. In one modest apartment, 12-year-old Maya lit a paper lantern she had crafted at school, and the soft glow drew a circle of residents together, sharing stories and a laugh over the unexpected pause. The moment that lingered most was when the building's superintendent, Marie, knocked on each door, confirming everyone was safe and offering a cup of tea brewed on a single portable stove. It reminded us that even when the grid fails, the community's light never does. In moments like these, the heart of Montreal shines brighter than any street lamp.
Thank you, Montreal, for joining us tonight. It was fascinating to hear about the new underground tour at St. Leonard Cave, a glimpse into the city's hidden history. We'll be back tomorrow with more stories that matter to you. Until then, stay safe and keep looking forward.